We've all probably worked a bad or a terrible job at some point, but there's definitely some that stick out above the rest, and I can say I've had to work several jobs and gigs over the years, so I can understand what might be some of the worst of those out there. Of course, comment below your thoughts, but just getting started at number one, any job that requires working overnight. I feel like overnights just, unless you're getting paid some insane amount where you can justify it, it just throws off your entire day schedule. And the good part about, I feel like, working during the day, or at least being active during the day, is kind of the sun's out, you feel in a better mood, and people are out and about with you and stuff, and you can kind of still get stuff done later on in the afternoon if you're getting off by then and you're getting up early in the morning. And it feels like a lot of society is kind of based around these workers, whereas being overnight, everything is kind of closed, and it just gives you this weird vibe to it. And I worked an overnight, basically warehouse job, or I should have said it's a stocking job, excuse me, so it wasn't too bad, like the actual work, but it was just the time frame. You would kind of be there and feel like a zombie or just really strange, and you get off and it's like, what is even going on? It's like 7 a.m. So not a fun experience, and can definitely throw your entire rhythm just out the window. And then it's really bad, especially if you have anything to do, like appointments, or you're covering something else. It's just like you get these awkward maybe a few hours of sleep, then have to go wake up and do that, and then it's like good luck going back to bed before your shift. So not ideal to work overnight. And also, I've heard this from one of the people I listen to a lot as far as sports, Colin Cowherd, so to give him credit, but one point he's always said is you can't overcome bad management. And honestly, just to generalize, any job that has seriously terrible management, you're probably not going to be able to overcome that, and it's going to go quick and fastly down the hill. And honestly, anytime you have a bad manager that doesn't know what they're doing, or it really is not just a manager, but somebody that's running the show over controlling so much of the company or the business and everything, and you're trying to work under that, it can really go wrong very quickly, and you're just not going to be able to do anything, because any good you're doing can often just be flying up from the bottom of the pool and then just hitting the ice there, like a layer of ice. The bad management just preventing you from getting out from the deep water for all your hard work. It feels like that just puts a cap on everything. You hear a lot of people with very toxic managers, and they can't like get time off or something, or they really don't have good relationships with them, and everybody just feels like they're walking on eggshells. It's never a good situation. You got to get out of there if there's terrible management. Next up, and the worst jobs, is definitely any job that is requiring some serious like manual labor and physical health or strength to be doing. And look, I'm all for blue collar work, and I've done a lot of it myself, even though I step more into the white collar side, I guess, as a broadcaster. But honestly, I still do blue collar stuff and that kind of work and the manual labor, and so I get the culture behind it. But sometimes there are jobs that are definitely harder than the rest, and I think if you're going to go to those serious, rough and rigid jobs, it better be like a temporary thing. Like if you ever see, I'm sure this would be one of them, even though I haven't experienced it myself, those videos of those guys swinging around just the most heavy machinery in the oil fields and crap like that, all dirty, and it's stuff like that. Or maybe removing like junk or something, or being a mover where you're constantly putting your body through some seriously heavy thing and then trying to, I don't know, do crazy moves in other situations. I feel like just taxing your body through that is really going to show up very early on in your life. Whereas maybe if you can find a manual labor job, but that's a little less of the insane work there, that can really be beneficial in the long run, like actually, like I would say, stocking shelves. Not that that's necessarily a skill you want to build on, but I'm just saying that would be a lot lighter than doing something like you're tossing around all this crap and really heavy lifting. Like that's just going to totally take a toll on your body, and definitely can wear you out for doing any activity after. Another horrible job though is doing a job where you have to sit forever, and I should say broadcasting is actually not the greatest example, because you do have to sit there for the game, but luckily I'm engaged enough and everything, like, and I think a lot of people, you're engaged in the games, you're entertained in that way, but less of that part. It's more of just sitting there, like any office job where you're definitely not going to get up and move around at all. Like that's really bad, I think, for your physical health a lot of the times. Like it's great if you can get a good balance. I would say even with broadcasting, like you actually get a lot of steps in and stuff. I mean, you know, let's say you're on the road broadcasting a game, you might have that time to go work out and everything in the morning, or on top of that also walk around a bit and exercise, weight lift. Then you're going to the park, and there's a lot of steps pre-game as I'm walking down to the field and back up to the booth and all that, watching batting practice, and there's a little bit of movement there. But working some office job or some desk job where you're literally just sitting there in the office, maybe you go walk over to Chick-fil-A after you drove yourself over there, and that's about all the movement you get for the day. Like that's really, you just hear a lot of negatives physically, and then what happens is you aren't able to kill two birds with one stone a little bit, so you always have to end up basically taking more time out of your day to make sure you can exercise and get those extra calories burned if you're really sitting there all day, and it kind of adds more pressure on you in that way. And it's like the last thing you want to do is work out even harder when you're getting back from a full day of work and stress. So I would say office jobs, as cushy as they can be, you also got to be a little bit careful. Ideally, you'd be able to at least step out of that and get some movement for the day. Another terrible job, and we can categorize a lot here, but I think fast food, and specifically any fast food where you're basically working minimum wage, and luckily I haven't had to work necessarily fast food. I've worked at a pizza restaurant for a number of years, and that wasn't even bad at all, and I had a good relationship with the boss I keep in touch with. But working fast food, and especially making minimum wage, you know, you're going to get treated bad by the customers, by the management, by everybody around you, and it's just going to be high stress, and all for no reason, because again, you're not making any real money there, and it just feels like an absolute terrible situation. And I feel like I've never heard much good from people working in fast food. To counter that, just to leave it open, like going outside of fast food and maybe working at the right restaurant. I think there's some people, especially if you become like a sous chef or something, you can get in a position where you can actually make pretty good money working in a restaurant, depending on how high end it is, depending on all that kind of stuff. There's definitely some art that goes into it as you get higher up, and I think although stressful, you're at least making a real wage there, so that could be worth it. But I think fast food is just an absolute no-go. This one a little more of a hot take, but I guess trucking, now, not that you can't make a good salary, but I think trucking can be a bad job from the standpoint that it seems to be the worst one for your physical health, and I think that really also takes a toll on you, not in the sense that it's blue collar and you're throwing around heavy equipment and all this all the time, and that's extremely stressful. But truck drivers, unlike maybe when you're delivering packages, you aren't getting up and out of the truck all the time. You're basically sitting on the road for several hours. There's not a lot of movement, and then on top of that, you're also stopping at stuff like gas stations, so it's very hard to maintain a very clean diet, and basically it just ends up with those bad conditions and stuff like that, and the lack of calorie burn. And especially this matters to me, being somebody that's lost weight and had to keep it off. Like, it's just very hard to stay in shape, and I think you see a lot of truck drivers that aren't in very great shape, and so what ends up happening is that obviously takes years off your life, and again, it's a little more cushy, and so, you know, you can counter with the fact that obviously you don't have to be as rugged as some of the others, because I don't think it's the absolute worst. I was talking about it later on here in this list, but for some people, truck driving can definitely be a bit of an issue. So those are my worst jobs that I can definitely think of that you could really work, and there's definitely some others that we didn't include on this list, but let me know in the comments below what messed up work situation you've gotten into, and what that was like, and terrible job experiences, and what you had to do, man. Like, what is it, what's been going on for you guys? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, you can also check out my social media, and we have that running for the weight loss and the sports, and we're getting those going. Don't have one yet really for the games. I'm not sure I'll have one specifically for this YouTube channel, but just something to mention there. Thank you guys again for watching, and stay tuned for the next video.